I'm sure we'll talk a bunch about that later at some point in the show. But for now, let's get into games.
Let's talk games.
We got our gaming setup is the topic today. How we play games together, how we game. So a long time ago, we had the 2 TV living room. And then we said, this is ugly. Let's not have the 2 TV living room because we've lived in different apartments throughout. I think we're on our 3rd apartment together.
Yeah.
So then we realized the 2 TV living rooms is actually goated, and the not having it be any other way is bad.
I think you're right in that we decided the 2 TV living room is ugly, and it is ugly. Like I think that is something I can say with my full chest. Like having 2 big ass TVs in your living room,
even 2 smaller TVs, and like rip to everyone listening that has 2 TVs. You have to know it's kind of ugly,
know
right?
It's kind of ugly. Yeah,
it's kind of ugly.
There's no way around it. But functionally, and for us, it's still kind of worth it. Like I think we doubled back and we went back to a 2 TV living room setup because it's like, well, just the pros outweigh the cons. You know what I mean? Am I embarrassed when people come over? A little bit. But
do you remember what we were doing before we did the 2 TVs? Because I do. I just want to know if you remember.
Was my little portable TV thing?
It's your portable display. I said, talk about the portable display that you got.
So I still have it.
Yes. It's really useful.
It is goated. It's just not, the situation of use is not as often as I would like. Or often at all, really. But I have it, and I'm glad I have it for whenever the occasion arises. It's a little portable monitor. It runs off of like USB-C power, and it conveniently can be powered by like the PS5, for example. So if I don't know, we needed to set up another TV for like a little home tournament or something like that we're doing, I can plug in my PS5 to one outlet, plug in the monitor to the PS5, and then off of just that one outlet, get a full gaming setup.
It looks nice too.
It does. It looks good.
The display quality. I don't know if you have like if you know what the stats are on it, or
I think it's for sure at least 1080. It might be 2K. It's like a small, it's not huge. It's
a little bit bigger than like a large iPad.
Yeah, I would say maybe like 13 inches, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And it looks crisp. Colors are great. Really everything. Let me see if I can.
While you look into that, I used it once for I forgot what was even going on at the time. Maybe I was working on a review. I was working on that Prince of Persia review, I think, actually. And I used it. I was out of town for work, so I brought my PS5 with me, which is freaking massive, and the display, so that at the hotel room I could play the game. Maybe it wasn't Prince of Persia, maybe it was something else, but I think it was Prince of Persia. So that was really convenient. Now, granted, like at a hotel, because like a hotel, it's hit or miss whether or not you can access the back with the HDMI. So that's why I didn't want to just like take the PS5 and like not know what was up with the display. And it was super convenient. I sat at those little sad work desks that exist inside the hotel rooms, and I did my work there, and it was great. It worked really well.
Yeah. No, I pulled it up here. It's a 15.6 inches 1080p monitor. And yeah, no, it looks good. It's convenient. It's portable. If you ever, I don't know, go camping or ever find yourself like really in like a travel kind of situation, I can recommend something like this wholeheartedly.
Camping used to need the electricity. Some people, if you go glamping.
Yeah, some people, yeah. If you go glamping, it's probably a better way to put it. No, it's dope. 60 hertz refresh rate. It's got everything I need.
But it was really sad seeing Isaiah just like prop up. We have one of those lifty coffee table things, and just having him like lean over the little tiny display. Yeah. It was just like, what's going on here? So yeah, we're back to the 2 TVs. The only con of our current setup is that, live in an apartment, not the most massive apartment in the world. Decently sizable though. I feel like I don't want to downplay the fact that we have 2 rooms and we're only 2 people. That's like pretty major. 2 bathrooms as well. But for all the pros, there's also some cons, which is just that it's not like, it's not massive. Like it gets the job done, but there's a couple tight walkway spaces, things like that. So for that reason, our sofa is a sort of regular 2 to 3 seater with like the
it's like
it kind of has like those little L. Yeah, it's not really an L though. It's like an extended piece. It has like one of those extended pieces that you can like put your foot on if you want to like have your feet up and you're sitting up. it has one of those. But the reason I bring that up is because it's not like, I remember back in the day, like my family's OG couch where it's like everything has like its own arms and stuff. Like it doesn't have that. And that's the one con of our setup where I'm sitting on a normal sofa looking at the TV and your back is on the arm of the sofa and then you're like outward. So that's the only, I think, con to the setup from like an ergonomic or like whatever. So you seem to like it, but it's a little weird.
Also with the setup of our TV, so our TVs are kind of in the corner. So like, you know, if you're looking at the corner of the room, one TV's on the right wall, one TV's on the left wall kind of thing. And based on where the couch is, it is inconvenient sometimes looking at one of the TVs because the other person is kind of like in the way of the TV.
I'm the person in the way.
Oh, I wasn't gonna point names. But yes, like so like you said, there's some ergonomic things that we we can get around that by like, you know, if I like just scooch over a little bit.
Yeah, and I just don't like lean forward all the way.
Yeah. Then
but
it's
it is
like
it is one of those things where like if I lean forward to like grab a bowl of chips, it's like, let's not do that during a boss battle kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly.
So it's a little messy in that sense, but that's a limitation of, you know, trying to be specific, but also trying not to make it too hard for people to envision it. It's one of those situations where I think if you've had an apartment or even like a home, really, there's limitations on where things can be based on like the fixtures. So like the cabinets and the fridge are where they are, the end. The sofa is where it is, and it's like much closer to a TV than some people would have, because if it wasn't that close to the TV wall, the walkway into where the bathrooms and bedrooms are would be blocked. And
the TVs are where they are because that's where the outlets are, or that's where the, you know, cable hookup is.
Yeah, there's just not really. It's a very process of elimination apartment for that open concept kind of like kitchen living room area, because it's like, well, obviously you need to be able to walk in here, and even with that, we have like kind of some tight walkways because we had to, like, you know, it's this apartment's great if you have almost nothing and you don't watch TV.
Oh man, you're living a life here.
Yeah, if you don't watch TV, the people who don't watch TV are, you know, doing air kicks in this apartment because there's nothing but space if you don't watch TV.
It's got like, you know, decently high ceilings and everything. Like,
in the
I've definitely
apartment's
been in
defense,
apartments.
though, I like being kind of close to the TV.
Yeah, but I do too, but I don't think that's not good. You know what I mean?
No, it's not good for you, but I like it.
Yeah, okay. As long as we're on the same page that it's not good.
I think, again, this is kind of like an insider thing, so I don't want to go too specific, but your apartment in Emeryville, our apartment, because I live there, but, you know, it's your apartment originally. I think that was a good in between of like, we're not inside the TV, but we're not, because like back in the day, like in my family's house, and I feel like old 90s, 80s houses were like this, the TV was like on the other side of the entire room. It was like as physically possible away from the couch. Yeah, so I don't like that when it's like there's a mile. I can lay down 3 adult men on the floor before I hit the TV. That's a little far. But yeah, I think the apartment that we first had is kind of like and even like our last one to a degree. It's like, okay, like some decent distance. So that being said, we're a little closer then also to the stuff than we'd like, and that closeness creates the stuff that you're talking about of the sight line to the TV you watch is not as good as like the sight line I have to like my TV, which is also like the main TV, I guess, because it's just like the one that faces, like the sofa's facing that TV and you just happen to turn your body on the sofa to face the other one. But despite all those complaints, 2 TVs, goated, love it, never going back. If anything, I'm like, if we have kids, a 3rd TV. Honestly, at a certain point, though, you have to like I have to be a fake person and be like, oh no, like it's time for us to read. I don't read. I only started reading when this kid was born.
I think we have friends. Like I think our friend Ash also has a double TV living room kind of setup, but their TVs are like next to each other.
Yeah, a lot of people have the next to each other ones.
Honestly, I'd be down to try. I don't know if we can try that in our current apartment.
That would be awesome. I would love to do that in our current apartment. I don't think we have the space.
I don't think we have the space
because
of just
the
like
TVs,
how wide the wall is.
Our
TVs
what I mean? Are massive. We got big chonky TVs, but I love a big TV.
We're real gamers.
Yeah, like I don't want people on these rinky dink TVs. I don't even care if buy a cheap TV and make it big. Like I don't know, like figure it out, because we should do some measurements on that. I don't think we have the space. If we do,
I don't think we do either.
that would be dope though.
Yeah, it sounds like the next project we.
That would be ideal.
That would be great.
I'm not saying that we should
so
do it today. But it wouldn't hurt to just get that measuring tape out. Just to see what's possible.
It wouldn't hurt.
Another con of our area though is we have like we're perpetually figuring out where to put this litter box. You know, we have a cat and like something about even when she's not like kicking up as much because we switched out her litter to be less like tracky. Like it doesn't come out of the box as often as it used to. It's not as grainy. But there's just like a lot of like dust and gunk that accumulates because she's like in there like using the bathroom. So like that's also grossly in the corner kind of between the two TVs in a weird way. But so because of that, having like tech too close to there, it just makes the tech get nasty. So that's also but we can also just move where that is potentially. Yeah. Potentially. So yeah, what's something to measure? Because and everyone I know that has two TVs, they do the side by side, but their TVs are also like less massive. They're not rinky dink, but they seem some of them are really big. You know, different people of different income levels that I know. Where it's like, hey, I don't know what you make, but I know you got some of these big ass TVs. There's still space in the home when you have these two TVs. You have a home, you know, like there's definitely some goals out there. But this is something I've never asked you. Does what I'm playing ever dictate what you're playing, or do you feel like you're just playing whatever you're playing?
Oh man, that's rough. I think it does, but not in a like functional standpoint. It's more like a cultural standpoint. Like I might see you having fun with something. I'm like, oh man, that looks like fun. I want to have fun with it. It's never like oh, you're playing something super flashy and that's distracting me from my game kind of thing. Like I can pretty easily zone you out, like because the screens are just far enough away that I don't see what's going on your screen unless I look to it.
Yeah.
So there's never any, like I said, like distraction there. But if I just see you having fun with something, I'm like, oh man, I want to join
something I need to bring up because everyone, when I post about this online, everyone thinks that we're that we need to go to jail for this. We don't wear headphones when we play on these two TVs.
Not always. Sometimes we do. Sometimes like we have the Sony PS5 headphones or whatever.
Yes.
Maybe
sometimes you do.
Yeah, sure. Sometimes I do. Very rarely, or you will too in some situations. Not
the two TVs. I have in our like offices for like embargo spoiler reasons.
Yeah, it's that same thing, but in the living room. Like if we're playing the same thing, and you're ahead of me, or like say it's a game that like you played early or something like that, and you're maybe going back to play more or platinum it or do whatever, and then I'm starting it now. You might put on headphones just to not spoiler things for me in the living room, like later, like that I'm gonna eventually get to in the same game. It's very, very rare.
I gotta be honest, I don't think that's ever happened. I think you are hallucinating this memory.
No,
like the only time I've had headphones on is way back in the day when we used to have like side by side desks in our office space. When I was playing Last of Us Part 2, I had headphones on because also I think with that computer setup, I needed headphones to like play games. I don't think it had like external speakers like that. But I had headphones on for like embargo / spoiler reasons, and same with God of War Ragnarok. I had headphones on because the game wasn't out yet, and you wanted double reasons to have it. Yeah, I don't think in the living room because I feel like if it was that serious, I just wouldn't play the game where you could see it. I'd do it like in the office or something. And that just hasn't really happened in a long time. Just because there haven't been games that you're like, I care so much that I'm gonna, I don't know. You don't tend to care about spoilers.
Really? I know I've worn headphones.
Yeah, you have worn but sometimes, but
yeah, it's not often.
I don't. I cannot like really try to picture me wearing headphones in that living room. I don't think anything comes up when you look at.
I guess
when you go to your brain bank, there's nothing in there.
When I go to my head palace and I'm profiling Janet.
So how can you? How does that work for you? I know how it works for us because I live it, but people always ask, like, is that not distracting? Like, is it not, like, how do you hear your game? Like, that kind of thing.
So and I think we both are we're pretty subtitle heavy people to begin with. So, and, I like watch anime and stuff where, like, I'm not understanding what's being said anyways kind of thing. So, like, I can get by 95% of the time with just subtitles. Obviously, like, being able to hear a character speak is good and does kind of like add to things a little bit, but for the most part I'm fine with just subtitles in most situations. And usually what we'll do then is just whoever's playing the more important, for lack of a better word, game, they'll just have their volume like higher, and then the other person just kind of like turns the volume down.
Usually one is higher than the other. Usually mine's the higher one. But I also play more story stuff than you do.
Yeah.
But
so like you get more from playing your game. If I'm playing Rivals, it's like, I mean,
well, you gotta hear
it's nice to hear the call outs.
Stuff,
But
that's why you're not ranked.
The dialogue,
not any other reason.
Yeah.
Like I also, it's funny because we talk about this for just living in the world. Like Isaiah can close out other sound and auto closes. Like you auto close down other sounds. You have like one channel that's coming into you. And I automatically hear everything. And I have to manually select what I'm listening to. And even when I try to do the manual selection, sometimes it doesn't work. So like if we're in we're like eating dinner together and there's a couple next to us talking, I hear both and I have to select Isaiah in my mind. And even when I select Isaiah, sometimes I can't. I'm like hearing other stuff, which is fun for eavesdropping, but I just like, I can't, like, that's also why I wouldn't say get into like a lot of stuff over this, but it's like every now, like I have to make sure that you're like, hello, like if you're doing something else, like, hey, are you listening right now? Like I'm trying to talk to you because you'll be so like, you just default into whatever your first, you have a noise source and everything else is like, and then you can turn to like, get other sound, and every now and then you like are getting other sound where it's like, oh, I don't, I'll be talking to like my brother or something and I'm like, oh, I don't know, Isaiah, were you listening to that? And usually you're like, oh no, because we were just having a conversation. But sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I heard what you guys were saying. But it's like hit or miss. I'm hearing everything all the time. It's just nonstop stimulation.
That sounds painful like mentally painful to just be constantly bombarded.
I think a lot of I often find when I talk to people about how I experience the world, they're like, this sounds bad. And I'm like, I don't know. This is what things look like and sound like to me. So, that is what it is. But for some reason, that's not as applicable to video games for me. And I think part of that is that you do have your TV pretty low. Because funnily enough, which this is going to more stuff that's going to like send people off a cliff. I actually, where I sit on the sofa, again, picture just a regular sofa. You don't forget about the L. You don't need to think about that. There's like the left side of the sofa and the right side of the sofa. I sit on the left side and his TV is on the left wall. So on a very technical level, and he's like sitting on the right side to look at his left wall TV. So it's funny because I'm actually really close to the speaker of your TV because yours just comes out of the TV. Mine has a sound bar, but same difference is in front of the TVs. It's not that different.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me. Like I don't really know why. Like I can just like zone in on what I'm playing. I don't feel like I can't hear my game over your game. Like it literally bothers me not at all. Like I don't have like you coming in to play your game like partway through. Like I don't feel like, oh, now it's different. It's just like, oh, cool. Yeah, you're joining me. Like that's great. Yeah, it's really strange in that way, but it doesn't bother me.
And also, even if you, I don't know, can hear my TV when I'm playing games, you're also someone who like, I don't know, like puts on music to play games sometimes and stuff. And so like, I don't know, maybe you're just conditioned to better lock in the audio source than you might expect or think.
Yeah, like I guess when it comes to games in media, it's different than like real life because I don't know, in real life, I guess the thing is in real life, you can focus on anything that you want. There's like all of it is on the table because it's all like a lived experience. While like when I'm playing a game, the thing I'm engaging with is the game. So it just like, I think my mind just defaults to the game. Yeah, I'll put on music for some things. When I was a kid, I used to just do TV completely muted music. And that's how I played, like, not every game, but a lot of my games were, like, just with music on. As an adult now, what I do is I go into the sound settings, which didn't really exist in a lot of games back, like, when I was a kid. And I just turn off the OST. So I leave the sound
your
on.
Own music.
Yeah, so I have my own OST, and I can still hear when it goes cha-ching, like, little, like, if you're fighting or you're, flying around. Like, I do my own music for, like, Solar Ash, but I can still hear the sound design, which is kind of nice.
That's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, thank you.
I gotta try that.
I did full on, though,
like... fourth sound to the living room.
Yeah, I did full on. I mean, that is how and I'll do it while I was playing, and, like, I don't know, it doesn't bother him. God of War Ragnarok, even listening with headphones on, I actually listened to, like, Taylor Swift's Midnight's album a lot because that's the album that came out. So like I would just pause the album when it's like, oh, this is a cutscene. Then but yeah, I'm like, that's the album that I listened to when I was playing this game because I was playing it like pretty heavily, pretty quickly. Like I did it during the review period. So I was like, every day I show up and I play God of War Ragnarok and I listen to Taylor Swift. And
also,
it.
I know there's Spotify integration, but have you ever?
I did that with God of War Ragnarok. Yeah.
Okay, that's how you did it.
It is okay sometimes.
I know there's Apple Music, like our Apple TV app now on the PlayStation, I believe. I wonder if they have Apple Music like that same Spotify
I don't know.
integration.
You know how Apple is. They don't want to play with anybody. So, but honestly, the Spotify thing, it doesn't work that well. Frankly, it's just kind of finicky. Sometimes it'll drop out. You'll try to like go in and like the quick actions don't work as well, and like pulling up an album's kind of hard. It's sort of like how in the car, like I always complain the Apple Music app in the car, it's kind of missing some features.
Sure.
Similarly, Spotify feels like what it sounds like is really good, where it's like, oh, it's integrated with the content. It's like, but in reality, it's like a little bit less like nice, and that's also why I wouldn't often use it. And like with our TV setup, we have also speakers, like Bluetooth speakers that I have that are hooked up to my record player. They're physically hooked up to the record player, but they also have Bluetooth functionality. So the way I do it there is I just on my phone play it off there, and then the TV speaker bar has the game audio coming out of it. So yeah, it's an auditory attack, I think, to a lot of people listening. I would love let me know if we're not alone and that other people do this, because everyone's like, so no headphones, just like sounds, and like half of the screen is like South of Midnight and the other half is Marvel Rivals, and I'm like, yeah. And then what's even worse is like sometimes we'll have like conversations too, so it's just it's just like a smoothie of stimuli. But I don't mind that.
A smoothie, if you put the right ingredients
you blend it together,
you blend it at the right,
it's good. But I also
ratios.
I grew up with a lot of that stuff because I would play games with Edwin. He wasn't playing a game the same time I was playing, but like the idea of like you're gaming and you're like talking to somebody, or it's like it's just it's something you're doing alongside everything else. Well, I think for like other people, gaming was maybe more of like an isolated experience. Like you go in and you lock yourself in your room and you play your game, and your mom knocks and you're like, Mom, I'm gaming. Like I didn't have that. I had like, it was more of a, you're gonna play, and like we'd be watching each other play and stuff. But it was less like isolated. It's not like gaming has never been like an isolated experience for me. For the most part. And then like the other way I often game is like streaming. So it's almost kind of rare for me to be playing a game and no one's watching me play it. Or at least has the option to turn and watch like you do on the sofa.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, man. 2 TVs. Great.
2 TVs. The other setup that we have, which isn't used that often, but we have this like studio that you guys are seeing on the YouTube version, which, you can see like our little backdrop. We have like these 2 sofa armchairs that are visible. One is like a 2-seater sofa. One is a singular armchair. And it's also where I do all my content from. So when I go on podcasts, I'm on here. On the other side, where, y'all are here, on the other side, beyond, where you exist, but picture that as a room, right? Yeah. Mind blowing. There's a desk that's kind of like, we call it the producer desk. That's technically in the closet. Like we took the mirror sliding doors off the closet and shoved it in there, which worked really well, honestly, for getting a little bit more square footage. But that has like my PC in there, our, Mac computer that runs everything, a chair, little stuff like that, whatever. And that's mostly just used for production, but I sometimes also go there to work. I really like working there and kind of want to work there more because it's really like ergonomic for writing. Versus like at our kitchen table, like the level isn't, this is a standing desk, so you can raise it and lower it to like the perfect height. And the other day I was writing my Doom preview, which is up on my site now, pen2pixels.com. And you were, I think, playing Alan Wake 2 at the time.
Yeah.
And you had said, do you want me to cast my Alan Wake gameplay to you for a work session? So what is this setup?
Yeah. So, it's almost like a hijacking of the producer setup, like the producer streaming sort of configuration to work in reverse, where normally as a producer, right, if you're streaming, I'm in the producer chair, I can see what you're playing as well as like have a browser open or these configurations open, OBS open, like all these things, like I can pull knobs and move levers and stuff like that to make the stream happen. And what we've found is that we can actually make that work in reverse. If someone's at the desk trying to work, we can do the same setup, but for the person at the desk to have in like IRL stream also on the computer for their own personal like viewing. So yeah, we'll set it up as if like, you know, I was gonna be streaming Alan Wake, except instead of hitting, you know, go live on OBS or anything like that, you just have the preview window open, and so you're able to see my gameplay. We can either turn the volume up on the TV, or if you ever put headphones on, you'd hear it. Like you'd hear the gameplay like normal and everything, but you're locked into, I don't know, the CMS, and you're like writing and doing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's we've done this now a couple times, like where
at least like 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
One
time I was the one playing, which is rare because I just wanted to. You think you're maybe editing something?
I think
and
so.
then you're like, can you play? All right, would you be down to play the game in the studio? And I was like, yeah, sure. I don't care.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
game in the studio all the time. So yeah, I think I was playing Flock at the time.
Oh yeah, no, there was that. It was also Cryptmaster, which is like a weird stream but not stream, where like
that one I did
being
almost the reverse. I sat at the producer desk to play it, but I was technically
to me.
Yes. So on a technical level, I was playing off of, which people that make content know what we're talking about a little bit more with OBS. OBS is, how would you describe what OBS is?
It's a software used for like streaming videos to platforms.
So like it, you know, UI wise, it kind of looks like a program in the sense that if you opened like freaking Adobe Photoshop or like Apple, what's the iMovie or whatever like that, like the idea of you open something that has an interface, it kind of has like that vibe to it. So there's extra like junk around there of like the scenes and stuff, but you can again click on it and preview it and make that window big. So I was technically playing off of that, which is really weird because normally you're more so playing off of the actual feed and not like the display of the feed. But it really is the same difference. Maybe the fidelity is slightly less good looking, but it's ostensibly the same. So yeah, I did that while I was playing, and then you were sitting here working. Because you're weird with work. Like you can sit, like how people see you on the YouTube feed now, where you're sitting in a chair and you have like an iPad in your lap.
Yeah.
You can work,
like
that.
like that. Yeah.
I don't like working like that. Like I don't like working on the sofa and I just have my laptop in my lap. No, I don't like it. I can do it. Like I can do it a little bit, but I wouldn't be like, I'm going to write an article like this.
Sure.
Like, ew,
sure.
yuck.
I will say because I'm all in on the like Apple ecosystem, just as an aside to all of that, because I'm all in on the Apple ecosystem, I'll use my iPad as a second screen for my laptop. If I have like like if I'm set up at like the kitchen table, for example, I do that like 100% of the time. But like, yeah, no, if I'm, I don't know, in a lobby somewhere or like a PAX or a GDC or something, and I want to just browse the internet or do some work or code or do whatever, it's like, oh yeah, I can just open up the laptop, airplane, open up the laptop, work a little bit. Just fine.
Yeah, I don't like that. So I don't do that. But Isaiah will, so he'll come in here and can like work just as comfortably as when he's working at like the kitchen table, as when he's working at the sofa of the living room, as when he's working at the desk. They're all equal to you. So are they all equal to you, or do you have favorites?
They're all, I have favorites, but they're all within the same like handshake range.
That's
of each
gross.
Other, you know what I mean? Like, the couch is inherently just more comfortable, just because it's a more comfortable place to sit.
That's
but
wild.
It is not a nicer place to work from a work standpoint. It's like work is all the same. It's just I can be seated more comfortable.
For me, it's that desk is like the number one place. Number two, low key number one is the kitchen table because it's where I am the most often. But the real number one is that desk because it's the best ergonomic setups, and it's also a bit more, it feels a bit more focused because it's just like you're in this like closet hole.
See, I don't have that problem. I can lock in. To me, it's
I've never locked in. I'm like always like the key's in there, but I haven't turned it yet. Kind of vibe. But yeah, I just feel like it's almost sitting at the desk to work versus the kitchen table. It almost gives the same feeling of, there's that joke of you don't make purchases on your phone, you make them on your laptop. It's like that kind of thing a little bit where I'm like, oh, checking my emails. Like who cares where I check those? But like this, it's like, oh, we need the multiple screens and everything. It's just really nice to have that. But I grew up living on the kitchen table when it came to that's why I did my schoolwork growing up. Like that's just like that's why I would color.
See, now it's the opposite. I had a desk as far as I can remember,
I fucking hated
because I was
you.
always in tech. I was always like interested in that stuff. So like,
some of us didn't have the privilege to be interested in tech.
Well, even before the tech, I still had like a desk to do my schoolwork. And
wow,
stuff
so they didn't. Well, if someone cared about you getting your work done, I guess I don't know. Okay, your big fancy family. I don't know. I had a desk at one point as a child. I think I was pretty old though at that time, but at one point I did eventually. I know for a fact ish in 8th grade, I think I did have like a form of a desk in my bedroom. But for a long time, I didn't have any desk in my bedroom at all. The only desk that existed was the family computer desk. But back then, like, this is old school family computer time.
Okay,
so like I had the compact Presario. So like the monitor is like, freaking huge. We did have like a 2-tiered, like think of the desk you can see now at like Office Depot, Office Max, Staples,
gotcha.
like those ugly like computer desks. Like we had one of those.
Yeah.
So like on a technical level, like I guess you could, move the keyboard to the side and then, but like
you just weren't doing that.
No, not really, because it wasn't good. Also, the desk was in the basement. The computer was in the basement, which is like my dad's place basically. It's like where it's his hangout spot. Like the basement's basically his.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go down there, but like. He like think of if I made a basement with like a bunch of like arcade crap and just BS and like records and stuff like that kind of like man cave basement. So it's like, do you want to go down and do your homework in this man cave? It's like, I don't know. My dad just sitting there watching me, like, not really. I mean, well, he was at work a lot, so I guess he wouldn't necessarily be there. But it's just like, let's just do this on the table. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure I did do homework down there at some points. But it wasn't a big thing. And I don't think we got that computer until like. I want to say when I was in 7th grade, maybe it was earlier. But it's also why I didn't game on the PC. Like a lot of my friends were like, oh, like you remember playing this PC game, these like web browser games. I'm like, I didn't play any video games on my PC, my like PC until like now. Like I was not getting, that's, another piece of the puzzle of hating PC, of loving console games falls into place. But yeah, I guess the only other gaming setup thing that we could address is gaming in bed. Like, do you game in bed? What's your situation there? Obviously I know because I live with you, but
Yeah. So most of the time, no, right? I would say ever since I moved to California, which was like back in 2017 or something like that. Basically, once I got out of college, and I had the room, like. When my space was more than just one room and it had to do everything, I stopped putting a TV in my bedroom.
Yeah.
So actually, even in Buffalo, before I moved out here.
That was culture shock for me when I moved in with you and you didn't have a TV in your room. I said, what?
Yeah. Even in Buffalo, before I moved out here, I didn't have a TV in the room. I moved out here to a 1-bedroom apartment and I was like, all right, well, I have a bedroom and I have a living room. So I'm going to put my TV and games and everything in the living room and the bedroom's going to be for just sleeping. And it's like, all right, cool. And I kept that and I like that. I still consistently love just being able to turn off things, go to bed. I sleep better. I sleep easier. Great. But because of that, I don't really do as much gaming in bed now because it's like, I guess I could do like handheld stuff, right? Like a Steam Deck or Switch or phone or iPad or something like that. But I don't know. I could also just do that on the couch. And then when I'm done, I dock it and charge it and then I go to bed. So I mostly only game in bed when you're gaming in bed just because like you're already up. So it's like, all right, I guess I'll be up too kind of thing.
Sure.
I never want to game in bed. I don't think there's ever a time where I'm like, you know what I want to do? I want to lay in bed, get some snacks and just play games. I'm like, I want to do all that, but just do it on the living room.
Yeah.
Do it on the couch.
Well, I don't do the snacks because then the bed gets full of crumbs.
Yeah.
So I can't eat my snacks. Yeah, I don't game too much in bed either. I definitely do it more than you. And it's interesting that you only do it because of me. I feel like I've definitely seen you play a game in bed. And then
maybe once or twice.
Like before me. But that is funny. I didn't know that actually. I don't game too often in bed. It depends, like, and I usually have like very specific games nowadays that I play in bed. Like for a while which I want to get back to doing this, playing Power Wash Simulator before going to sleep. Oh my God, that thing knocks me out. I love it. It's so soothing. I have a bad habit of I like scroll basically in bed like all the time. And I think it would be better just to replace that. Well, the best thing to replace that would be like reading a book. But I think certain games that are more relaxing can be a nice like way to go about it too. Yeah, like what other games have I played in bed? Sometimes I'll play like just regular games in bed. But I usually, if I'm gaming in bed nowadays, I try to make that because I went to bed really early, like I'll make it up, right? Like I get into bed at like 10:30, and I know I'm like, okay, well, I want to be asleep by like 11:30, which is still like kind of on the earlier side. Like I feel like 12 is average, and then late is like after 1 for like us and like how we live. So usually I'm not booting up a game in bed unless like I have the runway to like feel like I can play it, which is funny because when I scroll in bed, I'm just like, I'm just gonna scroll for a little while, and like I don't really like limit it as much, which is bad. But yeah, because sometimes I was playing Cato in bed on the Steam Deck, the little cat puzzle game where it's like he has the butter toast on his back. That game's awesome. Yeah, so I'll do a little bit of that. I've been mentioning I want to get into my iPad era for like the games, and there's some like fun like Stitch is a really soothing game on like Apple Arcade. I can see myself playing that like before going to bed. Yeah, and at one point we did experiment with the weirdo like arm mount in bed where you put the Switch, like the screen of the Switch inside of it. I mean, you can put like a phone and stuff too. Like, and people use that a lot for like if they do an e-reader. I hear that's like really comfortable, and I would bring that back if I got into e-reading like on a reader, and then get the little clicker because that's pretty nice. Where it's like, oh, you can read in bed and you have to hold it, and like that's kind of nice. There's that fear that's gonna fall on your face. It never fell on our faces, but like I was scared. But I did game in bed like that at one point with the Switch and the Joy-Con just like at my side, and I'm just like dead staring at the screen. Yeah, I have embraced no TV in the bedroom life, but I will say my dream setup would probably be some kind of projector configuration in a bedroom, because I think it is. There have been times where I'm like, I just want to like put on a movie and like, or like be bad and like fall asleep to a movie in bed or something. And like, we can't really do that unless it's like, I don't know, your laptop. But then I don't want my laptop to get like thrown off or whatever. I'm
going to call Cap a little bit because even when we have like, when we travel and we're in hotels, the hotels have TVs in there. You never go to sleep to the TV. You're always like, okay, time to turn TV off and go to bed now.
Well, yeah, but it's just nice to have like the option first, because every now and then I am in the mood.
Is it nice to have the option if you never take the option?
Well, I think it's a little unfair to say I never take the option when the only like situation is travel. Like travel's so specific.
I guess that's fair.
You know what I mean? Right. And for all our travel, like how often are we actually like on vacation? Like not that often. Like I travel off for work. Fair. Yeah. And yeah, like, we wouldn't use it a lot, but there have been times where like I just want to like cozy up and watch like a movie in bed or something.
Sure.
That's not that often though. So, and I think to your point, yeah, like just do that and then go to sleep, like separate things for separate like places. But yeah, I think that could be fun. I mean, especially too, actually, the thing that I really liked watching in bed was Fruin. We watched that in bed a couple times. And I would have loved having that like not on our laptop. Like, but yeah, and I don't really know why I didn't want to watch it in the living room. I just like didn't. I don't really remember my thought process at the time where I'm like, can we just watch this in bed? But then there were times where it's like, that also gets dangerous though, because I'd be falling asleep. So I was like, what's happening with that? It's all the same story. The story barely moves in that anime. I like that anime a lot, but like they move like 8 feet of plot in that anime. Okay. They were okay. Yeah. But any other things that you want to shout out with our gaming setups?
Not really. I do miss and this is like future sort of apartment iteration kind of thing. Yeah. It would be nice to have the double desk setup again. I think back to like the Emeryville apartment that we had, and it was like, oh man, it was kind of nice. Like even during the workday, like, you know, after COVID and we were working from home, it was like, okay, cool, we're both here. Like it was a nice, it was like almost that same coffee shop or like work office kind of environment, but like at home.
It's a good separation. Yeah.
But then you could also turn it into fun where it's like, oh, like let's play a game together. Even I don't know if we ever did, but like we could.
I think we did play some games together,
maybe like one or two.
And I miss having like a PC. Yeah, because there's not a lot of games where we need. You know, we're both pretty heavy in console. Yeah. But I've been wanting to play Lethal Company with you, and I just can't right now because you don't have like a PC, and I don't think it really like works on Steam Deck kind of thing. And it's like it'd be weird with the proximity chat. Like there are a couple things where it would be good to do. I guess that's something though we should shout out too. Having the 2 TV setup is really cool for if you have a multiplayer game that is online only.
Yeah. We can still just play together.
Yep, and be like in the same space and stuff, which is nice. And I will say probably the only pro of having the TVs not next to each other is for, this is very specific, but like a game like Operation Tango, you're not supposed to see the other person's screen. So it's nice for that. But like I'm not going to pretend like it's the better version, but it is just kind of nice. And I think maybe if you are someone who's distracted by the visuals, it's inherently nice to like not have to look at it because it's like on the side of you. But yeah, so that's our setup. But yeah, after this, I don't know where the measuring tape is. I'm always losing it. I don't know where the hell it is. I know where the big like one is, the one that
which we can use that.
Yeah, because the other one's more for like measuring clothes anyway. Yeah. It's like it's just like a string that has like it's a literal measuring table. This one's more of like the retractable one. We'll measure it and see if that's possible without when you open the door of the apartment you like ram into a screen. Yeah, because
we're always in a mood to reconfigure things. So
I think what I think the problem is though. The TV's mounted.
Well, the one TV is mounted.
Yeah, so would we unmount the TV?
No, that one I think is just stationary.
Okay,
it will be if we can.
That's going to be the big challenge because that space locks us in. Yeah. You know what I mean, a little bit. And my TV's like massive. I guess we could always flip these two.
If we wanted, we could unmount the TV. Like that's not.
Yeah, I know. I do. It is kind of having it mounted. Maybe too. We could. It is possible to put like the living room TV in the studio, right? I know it's massive, so it's like kind of too big.
It is possible, yeah.
That might be an option because this is small. Like, yeah, we have like 3 TVs and like one is bigger. It's like somewhat significantly bigger than the other 2.
Yeah.
So that could be a move. But yeah, we'll see. That's been our gaming setup.